video for people not so new in Genshin Impact, but also for the Ancient Zone. You have a checklist of what I could most bring to your accounts, and what is the minimum necessary within the nearly 100 characters of Genshin Impact, and which are the constellations that, in my opinion, despite being minimally bombed, should have practically every player of Genshin Impact, as much as for the new power. Do all the content and focus if you want to rusate an account and have the characters that you're going to be enabled by most teams and combinations, and they're going to provide you with the whole game. As for the ancients, to know how to maximize your versatility, how to enable most teams, and above all, how to synthesize all knowledge that you could get to have about, as I say, almost 100 characters in just about 10 characters. So leave a good like, a good Bennett ulti, subscribe. Leave a good comment for the algorithm. Thanks for enjoying and watching the video on channel. Remember that it costs you nothing, it is totally free, helps a lot, positions and recommends the video. This video I intend to be one of the most viewed in the channel and the community, so help me with it for new, for old, and for people who are in the process of out. Enjoy this video game, and go with the essential characters and constellations. Essentials of an account in Genshin Impact. Well, let's start well-structured everything, because I'm going to talk first about the 4 stars after the 5 stars, which are very few. Of the constellations over here, I guess I'll mention interesting facts, and then there will be a small list of optionals at the end for whoever wants to maximize that pool of characters. That, as I say, is going to be the ultimate exponent of enjoyment and entertainment in the game. Both encyclopedia and shopping list to check if these minimums have them. And in fact, and finally, the 4 stars come out for free. So you have to focus a lot on getting out these 4 stars and build them well, so that they literally make you all the content of the game. 4 stars. Many of you already know. But there are the jockeys of the apocalypse. Spoiler, the mink won't come in here because it's a carry, and I'll put it on the list of optionals later, but today for 4-star characters. They're going to upgrade and enable all the teams in the game, and you all know that they're Bennett, Xiangling, Xingqiu, and Kuki as well. Quick and easy, minimal constellations, I believe, that you all have to search to use them, and to literally give you all the performance of the world. Bennett the Cone, nothing more. Xiangling, you have to look for the C4, and here again, disclaimer and dot. Later on in the video, it is possible that Mavuika is a Xiangling 5 stars that you have heard it much, and the more time passes, the more slowly it is confirmed with the information that comes out of the betas later 5.2 and 5.3, so we'll talk about it later. But Xiangling C4, C2 of all. Xingqiu to give you full uptime of the hydro application and low resistance to hydro to make a little more damage, and Kuki Chero. Kuki is the only character here that you can't buy for free. In the store, save shine. If at least you get the Cone of Bennett, the C4 of Xiangling, the C2 of Xingqiu, and Kuki, wish you had some banner, would be the only 4 stars I recommend. That you look for at least Chero to take it to triple master's degree for hyper equipment. Boom. That's it. That easy. What does everyone do, for those who don't know? Best attack buffer of the game, and is on most of the best teams of the game today. Xiangling is one of the best sub-DPZs, especially for Raiden national teams that will be buffed at 5.2, because the electro-charged overload reactions will improve for the teams of Tartaglia and Ayayato International for Monopeiros, and now even Xiangling until the thought. Arrival Azo of Mavuika is the best alternative to apply Pyro, to play Burn and Crypto with Kinish, and also to apply Pyro and also play Burn and Vaporize on the Burn without. Mualani, i.e. Xiangling, is also the current best in slot of Natlan's 2 best carries, which are also 2 of the best carries in the game but are not on the quiet list. C2 Hugh. Xingqiu, as I said, to apply, and Kuki for the hyper blooms, has no more 5 stars, and I will go fast with the video because they are simple things. The 5 stars that I would say essential nowadays in the game are Kazuha, Shilonen, Nahida, and Furina, as easily are the 4 best 5 stars of the game. Many you will say, Phil missing one, Yelan Sanyon. Now I speak of them because I believe they will. I'll put them on the optional list as it's not part of the most powerful core, and I also told you that were 10 characters that only with those 10 will solve the whole game. Then they are the best. Game supports, they all have interesting constellations. They all have very powerful CT2, but here of the 4 would say that the best C2 of these 4-5 essential stars and all the game like bigger buff without any kind of check or any kind of condition or any kind of interesting or also strange combination to activate is Furina's C2 gives you damage inflicted on the entire team point. The C2 of Nahida ignores the defense of 30% enemy that is very damage, but only if there is Electron on the team next to the Dendro. The C2 of Shilonen limits you certain elements with which you do not buff, specifically the Dendro, the Anemo so good, and the C2 of Kazuha for the mastery of the team that equals to make reactions, but there will be teams that you give equal mastery, as for example, those of Geo that do not go, but Furina concretely of these 4 characters, his C2 by harming you inflicted buff you everything but the reactions that scale, with mastery like the Whirlpool, like the Electrocharged or Overloaded, or like the Hyper of the C2, and finally, and to finish the list of the 10 essentials, we have both. Best carries of the game that are Novilet and Alekino to Chero perfectly, and you have with it this 10 characters roster checking and having them all in the 5 to 3 to Chero, less as personally the C2 of Furina all the content, and if it is the most synthesized list to maximize this. Enjoy the game. Now, let's go with the optional list because, like I said, I want to go with a lot. Speed to understand and explain all this, especially for most players, as the video. It's focused not just on older people like a lot of the videos where I talk to things, techniques and so on, but even new players. In summary, I will put the list of optional. Some 5 stars that are also very powerful, and some alternatives that can enable us. And also Constellations that can be very powerful more are not mandatory of these 5. Only 2 4 stars today that are gaming, but it is a carry with which it is quite optional, and gaming is very interesting from Cone, and the CCs is amazing, but in the list of optional and all, visual interesting as 4 stars, but visual depends a bit on the 6 for the quantity of multi-hits and extra damage that can give us the 6 that makes extra hits climbing with a total attack. Visuals are 2 5 optional stars, but a less dependent 6 gaming dependent Pelin. GX, now Constellations, good, the 5 stars that would tell you optional Chero, and we talked about. Constellations are Yellen above all. Yellen is between optional quotation marks, because having Xingqiu and Furina already covers a lot of Hydro application outside the field. But if you might want to play, for example, a team of Alekino Furina, Kazuha Bennett, and another team a double Hyperbloom Hydro with Nahida, Yellen, Xingqiu, Kuki, or a team of Wu Tao double Hydro and then another character at the end to complete the setup, because if it is okay to complement with more Hydro, because the Hydro sub DPS today are very interesting to avoid most reactions of the game, mainly the 2 more played teams that are vaporized and Hyperbloom and good Nouvellette that is not vaporized. That's a Hydro Monkey, let's say, but it also played alongside Furina, so Yellen is the first. Optional but very interesting Chero. The next optional Chero is a Dendro carry. Here I make out. Small explanation is very interesting because that of a carried Dendro to enable computers is optional also, but you have to choose between one of the 3 Tignaris of the permanent and many. You will have it if you don't have either Kinnick or Alhaitham. Of course, it's worth it and it's very interesting, and in my opinion, when you start without wanting to get Constellations, Tignaris surpasses Alhaitham Chero. The best at Chero of the 3 today is Alhaitham, with which is another alternative. Also by design and equipment of Hyperbloom, and the best of the 3 with Constellations from Cone, and with C2 already totally rashes, is Kinnick, so as optional you stay with the concept. At least play a carry Dendro on your accounts, then Raiden Chero also to enable. The Raiden National, that especially now that in NATLAN they are going to bucket the Electrocharge reactions. And Overload is a direct buff to Raiden's national team and some other future teams, and here let's go with the Constellations, because finally in the optionals maybe C, Yenyun, and Emily, who they also enable you new equipment and are very powerful, but in less priority than the previous ones. And optional final Constellations to still improve this and to give a boost to your account could be the Cone of New Billet for further low damage and resistance interruption. so as not to depend on a shield that is not uncomfortable. The Cone of Arlecchino that basically busts you today. Damage in an incredible way, and also gives you resistance, interrupting the Cone of Yellen that gives you a damage ceiling or a spectacular target of the highest in the game, only with Cone and Aqua from Yellen. But the Aqua is secondary, and finally, because Raiden's C2, the C2 of Raiden can already enable you the Raiden Hypercarry and the National Raiden with C2 that also Chia, and is one of the best teams of the game that is also going to have a buff right now, so this is the second list of optional, where you also have to say the maximum performance in your account, so you can no longer just the above maximize, as I said, the fun resources and Rusaden account, but in this case with all those flexa constellations to quite that minimum of constellations synthesized with all the combination in Genshin impact throughout the game with the list of optionals, if any. You feel like you're going to be able to do a lot of wonders in the accounts and pretty crazy things. In fact, little more, I wanted to synthesize the video and summarize for myself, and to explain to the community which is the most important thing today in the game. The optional list is that optional already for fun, and by flexing, but keep the initial list of those 10 characters, and if you have those 10 characters, I assure you, and I promise you, that you will enable most team combinations of the game. You are going to enable the simplest things that can give you the best results, and above all, with all that combination of characters will practically then be able to include any other combination of characters that you like by basically design by choice by opinion for what you want. That with that list of characters I just explained to you, you're gonna fit any new ones character that you want in your accounts, and will have a good base to be able to have teams decent, so I can make a good performance on your account. Little more, leave a good like, a good utility, subscribe, leave a good comment for you to enjoy and watch the video. And the channel remind us, a cost absolutely free, has gone a lot, recommends the video, so now give it like and subscribe with bell. There is so many thanks and little more, take care of you. Very good day. See you soon. Bye.